Hey everyone, it's Richard Metal Fan here, bringing you guys an old school album review. And today we're going to be talking about this album's 10th anniversary, and it's from one of my favorite bands. And I'm friends with these guys, and it's the 10-year anniversary. It's crazy that this album is now 10 years old. And as you can see, both the title today, we're going to be talking about the masterpiece known as The Discovery by Born of Osiris, the band's second album released on March 22nd, 2011 through Sumerian Records. Now, you probably have heard of the name Born of Osiris if you're a fan of deathcore or metalcore, progressive metalcore. They're a band from Chicago, Illinois that formed in 2003. And for me, Born of Osiris are one of my favorite bands. And I've seen these guys live 6 times, and I'm friends with these guys. And a lot of people consider this album to be like their masterpiece or their opus. I definitely will agree. I think this, holy shit, I think this was a step up from A Higher Place, which I thought was a good album, but in my opinion was their weakest album. But I feel like after that they just gotten better, and I feel like The Discovery is really where Born of Osiris really discovered their sound. And if I honestly had an album of 2011 or an album of the year of from 2011, it would be this one, because this album is damn near great, just like from the production and everything thing. The band is just really just on top notch. One thing to note is just the vocal work on this album is just superb from Ronnie Cannizzaro. Like, he just does like a lot of the more growly kind of like vocals, and more of the higher shriek vocals, and I think his vocals are great. Same thing with Joe Burress, their keyboard player, who also does vocals as well. It's more of the mid-range stuff, and he actually does a couple clean vocals on a couple of the songs on here, and he does a really good job with his vocals. I feel like Ronnie and Joe's vocals, they kind of like go back and forth on some of these songs. And the guitar work on this album is tight from Lee McKinney and former guitarist Jason Richardson, who's now in All That Remains. Both their guitar playing is just superb, and just like they play off of each other really well. Bass wise, David Della Rocha's bass is really audible. It definitely heard well in the mix, and just the low end is really just fits well, and just David just locks in pretty much with what Lee and Jason were doing on guitar, and with what my buddy Cameron does on the drums. And I feel like also the keyboard playing, Joe's keyboards really just add to the sound, and it's also a really integral part and this of the Born of Osiris sound. And drumming wise, my boy Cameron Losh does a great job on the drums. He just really fulfills the drumming. It's superb. So without further ado, let's dive into this monster of an album track by track. Now, starting things off is the song Follow the Signs, which is actually, I believe, the first single from this album. It pretty much establishes like the tone of the album, and I can't disagree with its position as like the album opener. It's just really just assertive, and it's just a driving approach with just the insane double kick, and just like the riffs, and especially the guitar solo near the end of the song between Lee and Jason. It still gives me goosebumps even now after hearing it almost nearly 10 years later. It's just amazing. And then we move on to Singularity. Now, Singularity also has a little bit of a build up, and then there's a really sick guitar melody with it, and it's a pretty energetic track and some sick vocals and really good variation within this song. Moving on to Ascension. Now, Ascension is kind of similar to Singularity, also has a build up to it, and then it clears up, and it's a great song, especially in the live setting. It gets the crowd just a jumping song, and just yeah, it's a really great song. Next up is Devastate, which starts off kind of like really just calm and very light sounding, and then it just goes in all heavy. Some insane guitar work, and it just the sick blast strumming from my boy Cam. And then move on to Recreate. Now, Recreate, it just goes right into the song and just does not waste any time whatsoever. It's just some sick guitar solo and just some great melodies. Next song is Two Worlds of Design, which starts off with a lovely sort of like dual guitar harmonies, and then Ronnie comes in and it just gets really just heavy on here. Next up is A Solution. Now, A Solution for me is, I would consider this to be kind of an interlude song, sort of like a very calming song, sort of like which takes a break from the madness, and it's pretty much takes a break from it with sort of like a very ambient kind of tone. And it also has some use of clean vocals from Joe Barras, and he really takes the spotlight on here with sort of like Ronnie sort of doing a little bit of clean, sort of like backing Joe. I think it's a good song. And then it just kicks right back in get into full force with the next song, Shaping the Masterpiece. Now, this song really has a beat and it just develops after a while and just goes on, and it's also a very fast and heavy song. Next song on the album is called Dissimulation, which also has some insane drumming from Cam and some interesting vocal patterns from Ronnie, and I just really love like how the chugging guitars that is utilized in this song. Automatic Motion, which also starts off kind of very creepy sounding, like and something from like a horror movie, and then the band just comes in. And I also love like there's a little tappy guitar part. The Omniscient. Now the Omniscient, it's kind of one of those atmospheric songs, and this song was featured also like before like the music video for Follow the Signs. It's really calm and relaxed, and then we move on to The Last Straw, which just kicks right in with some sick guitar work and some good drumming and vocals. And I feel like the band is pretty much on fire right here, and we're almost 3/4 through this album, and this album is really long. It's pretty much goes in for under an hour. It's a great song, or a great album, I should say. And then move on to Regenerate. Now this song is really interesting. It almost kind of has a hip-hop vibe a bit, especially in the intro, and it's a very rhythmic sounding song. And I think it's pretty much one of the more experimental songs on the Discovery. And then move on to 14, which is just in Roman numerals, which is another interlude track, which has a beat that goes with it, and has a very melodic guitar over that said beat, and I think it's a fucking great song. And then we close with the Magnus Opus, or pretty much the longest song on here, which is Behold. Now it's the longest song on here, clocking in at almost 6 minutes, and the first bit is kind of instrumental, and it just really shows what the band can do musically. Just the guitar work from Lee and Jason is superb, and just the drumming from Cam, just the keyboards, everything. Like, it just really just shows what the band is capable of instrumentally. Now overall, Discovery by Born of Osiris, a classic in their discography. If you haven't heard this album yet, if you're a fan of metalcore or progressive metalcore, you need to listen to this album. You will not be disappointed. So if I have to give this album a score, I'm going to give Discovery by Born of Osiris a solid 10 out of 10. So that's my review of the album, guys. And one thing I would love to see them do is, I don't think shows are happening right now, but I would love to see them do a tour where they play this whole album from start to finish. Or if we can't get shows right now, I would love to see like a live stream show. So yeah, that's my review of Discovery by Born of Osiris, guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the album, and I'll see you all in the next video. And also, tomorrow is also my birthday, so I'll also be doing a birthday vlog. So be on the lookout for that, and I'll probably get some good shit with that too. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video, and as always, keep it metal.